down 5 points at 76.03. The pound buys $1.26 and €1.12. LBC weather, showers continuing across Scotland through tonight. Drier with clear spells elsewhere and a low of 6. Tomorrow staying cloudy in the far north, while warm and sunny for Wales, central and southern England. A high of 28 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Lisa Aziz.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation. The Nigel Farage Show.
Mr. Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Donald, and good evening, everybody. Well, the ballot papers are going out to approximately 160,000 people who will decide the next leader of the Conservative Party, the next Prime Minister of this country. And the likelihood is that in the next 72 hours or so, most of those votes will actually be cast. Now, the two candidates, Hunt and Johnson, have played rather different games on this. Johnson has avoided doing many interviews, refused to do face-to-face, head-to-head debates. He's been called a coward for doing so. He has been managed, whereas Jeremy Hunt has been out there debating with anybody, doing every interview that was possible. And there are risks to doing every interview possible, because yesterday he was speaking to a Daily Telegraph's Christopher Hope doing a big weekly podcast, and Hope was asking him a very wide range of questions, including one on fox hunting. Let's have a listen to what Jeremy Hunt said.
I would, as soon as there was a majority in Parliament that would be likely to repeal the fox hunting ban, then I would support a vote in Parliament.
And how would you vote personally in that vote?
I would vote to repeal the ban on fox hunting.
And what's the reason for that? Because others would say it's cruel to foxes.
Well, I don't hunt myself. Look, I think it's part of the countryside, and I think we have to recognise that in terms of the balance of the countryside, it's part of our heritage. So personally, I'm happy for people to do it.
The timing would be after an election, given you've mentioned there the numbers in Parliament.
I don't believe there's a majority in Parliament to change that now, so I think you would need a Conservative majority.
So it would be in the next manifesto of the party if you were Prime Minister?
To have a vote in Parliament, yes.
So there are two interpretations of that. One is Hunt being absolutely honest and in line with the way he's voted previously on this issue. The other is, well, of course, lots of these 160,000 are out there living in rural England, and they turn up at the Boxing Day meets for the hunts, and people like me, I do. And that's what he's going for. I actually think that's what Jeremy Hunt genuinely believes. However, today he was backtracking a bit.
The law is not going to change on fox hunting. There isn't a majority in the House of Commons, and I don't see there ever being one. I was just restating the position in our manifesto from 2017 that there should be a free vote if it ever looked like that majority would change.
Well, so he is backtracking a bit. So tell me, has Jeremy Hunt shot himself in the foot with these comments? And if you've got no problem with Jeremy the Hunter's views, call 0345 6060 973. Maybe you think, I've gone off him now, in which case you can text to 84850 and tell me, has he made a mistake by even speaking about the issue, given the moment of time we're in? If that's how you feel, please tweet using the hashtag Farage and LBC, at LBC. And of course, Facebookers, YouTubers, live watchers, you can comment too. Look, I have no problem with the idea that foxes need to be controlled. They do. I've kept poultry myself over the past few years, and indeed many people around me have got poultry, and a fox gets in and, kills the lot, and there are too many of them. They need to be controlled. They have a terrible effect on ground nesting birds, etc. Whether hunting is cruel, that's always the argument given against it. Well, I'm actually struck that other forms of fox control can potentially even be crueler. Is fox hunting efficient? No, it's highly inefficient in terms of the numbers that it does kill, although it's been illegal now for over 10 years. So Hunt, as I say, out there, putting himself about, getting asked a very wide range of questions. My view is he would have been wiser to say, this is just not a priority at this moment in time. And I think he's got himself in trouble. And I suspect that in what is an increasingly urbanised country, where people are, I mean, goodness me, I even hear of campaigns to stop people, shooting, angling, all the rest of it. I suspect it's not very well timed, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter what I think. What do you think? What does Liz in Callington in Cornwall think? Good evening, Liz.
Good evening. I'm pro fox hunting, very much so.
Yes.
1,000 years ago, we had packs of wolves here, and they hunted the foxes. We got rid of the wolves, so when we do fox hunting, it's the most natural way of doing it. Plus, they take out the old and the infirm, mainly. And, the rest of them, they get away, there's no doubt about it. But they do shift them on, that's one thing, and they do know where they are.
Liz, come on, you and I both know. And by the way, I go to a hunt meet every Boxing Day. I have all of my life. It's a great tradition. And indeed, they're not even hunting foxes now, of course, because it's all trail hunting. But it's a great spectacle, and I've noticed, it seems to me, ever more young people, young girls in particular, getting on horses and going and following the hounds. But in terms of pest control, it isn't very efficient, Liz, is it?
No, it isn't. It isn't.
Exactly.
You're quite right.
Yeah.
But those that have to be taken out, the really healthy ones, then a gun. Somebody with a really good shooter can do it, but they've got to be good.
They've got to be good, otherwise the animal gets wounded. Now, I know that. Liz, I understand your passion for this and where you stand on this. But was it wise of Jeremy Hunt to start talking about this right now?
No, really bad timing. I mean, what was he thinking of?
I don't know, but that may well be the quote of the evening. Liz, I thank you for your call. Up to Sunderland to speak to Janet. Janet, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel.
So what do you make of Hunt's comments?
Well, I was reasonably open-minded about all the hustings. I've been listening to them.
Yeah.
And I'm very anti-fox hunting.
Uh-huh.
I hate brutalising animals for sport. And I was listening with great interest what they've all had to say, and I'm going to the hustings in Darlington tomorrow.
So you're a paid-up, Janet, you're a paid-up Conservative member, yeah?
I am, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I intended to ask them about fox hunting because it's high on my priorities when I'm thinking of voting. And landed on my doormat this morning, my vote for the leadership.
Oh, did it?
And because of his comments yesterday and his stance on it, I put a firm cross next to Boris's name.
And do you know where Boris stands on fox hunting?
I don't yet, but Jeremy's told me where he stands, and I'm against it.
Well, hang on, Janet.
So,
you might find tomorrow that Boris turns up with a hunting horn, for all you know.
If he's smart, he won't. If he's smart and savvy, he will listen to the public opinion that 85% of the public are against fox hunting for sport.
85%.
Now, I'm not talking about...
Janet, come on. 85% of the public view fox hunting as about number 28 on their list of priorities.
Yeah, but all the animal welfare people in the League Against Cruel Sport, it's very high on their list of priorities. So they'll lose a load of votes, the Conservatives, if they push this.
All right, Janet, and are you honestly telling me that your vote has changed as a result of this?
You know what? In the 2017 election, I almost didn't vote Conservative because of Theresa May offering a free vote.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stomach having Jeremy Corbyn as an option.
Okay.
So I voted for Theresa May, and as I'm getting older and wiser, I am getting more and more against it.
And Janet, just very quickly, would you accept that foxes need controlling?
Yes,
Good.
Absolutely, but
Good.
Humane killing, not brutalising for sport and enjoyment.
When you find an answer for how we can humanely kill foxes, please let me know. Janet, thank you. And Janet feeling very strongly, so it has made a difference to her. She is a Conservative Party paid up member. Jeremy, oh Jeremy, why did you do it at this moment in time, even if it's what you believe in? Sometimes, and I'm not saying lie, but sometimes just don't answer a question would have been wiser. I think Michael is a new caller from Bracknell in Berkshire. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Nigel. How are you?
I am well. So, is this Hunt being honest, too honest, or is he actually cleverly reaching out? And I know Janet was a Tory member from Sunderland, but there are lots and lots of Tory members in the Cotswolds and places like that probably do support local hunts.
Well, I would imagine a lot of the elitists will be backing in for sure with that comment. But
elitists?
Well, sorry, the middle classes. Sorry.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say, Nigel. Sorry, I can't understand the mentality of the people who are anti-fox hunting. I don't want to bring religion and faith into this, but what's their opinion on halal meat? Because they want to ban on fox hunting, but they go quiet regarding halal meat.
Well, not everybody does. Not everybody does. There are people who are concerned about halal meat.
It just seems to be that fox hunting. It's obviously Jeremy Hunt's brought it up, and it's really making a big song and dance about it. But then other questions where other opinions from people, everybody goes quiet because obviously they don't want to cause offence or they don't want to upset anybody, and it's just pushed to the side when really. What would... No,
Michael, I get the broader point. There are many, many animal welfare issues, questions about farming, whether we do it ethically, that actually dwarf fox hunting in terms of animal welfare, and I understand that. But do you think, Michael, that Conservative members could be pushed away from voting for Hunt the Hunter?
I don't think... I just don't think they will, to be honest. I just don't, it's not as big a deal as what it was 20 years ago. Let's be honest, is it?
No. OK, well, there we are. Michael, thank you. Richard in Chelsea says, perhaps there should be a referendum on fox hunting. The recent one was such a great success. You're listening to the Nigel Farage Show here on LBC. It's 6:15 and time for the news headlines with Lisa Aziz.
Bookmaker William Hill is blaming government-led changes to fixed odds betting machines for its decision to close around 700 shops across the UK. The inquest into the London Bridge terror attack has heard how a new firearms officer fell over and shot one of the terrorists through his legs, thinking he was about to be killed. The Mayor of London says knife crime victims are putting their lives at risk by treating their own stab injuries at home rather than going to hospital A&E. LBC weather, showers continuing across Scotland through tonight, drier with clearer spells elsewhere and a low of 6 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. Long delays continue on the M4 eastbound. It stays closed from the M25 to Junction 4 for Heathrow because of a serious accident. There are queues from Junction 6 for Slough and long delays on the M25 both ways to the M4. The M2 is also closed eastbound at Junction 1 for Strood because a car's overturned. The air ambulance has landed, so all traffic is also being held westbound. On the M40 southbound, all traffic is also being held. That's because of an accident from Junction 4 for High Widdecombe to Junction 3 for Loudwater. It's very slow on the M1 northbound from Junction 8 for Hemel Hempstead to Junction 11 for Luton after an accident earlier. And on the Underground, there are severe delays on the Bakerloo line between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone.
This is LBC.
Let's all switch like Crouchy. Let's all switch like Crouchy. La 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 la. Hey.
I'm Peter Crouch. I've played for loads of different clubs and switched contracts more times than I've been asked, how's the weather up there? But compared to the switchers at Carphone Warehouse, I'm not even Sunday League. Their massive range of phones, networks and deals give you so many reasons to switch, all while keeping the same number.
Pull a switcheroo, and you could save money at Carphone Warehouse. T's and C's apply. Visit website for more details.
The Battle for PM. Follow it live on LBC.
This summer, Uber is sponsoring the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. To celebrate and say thank you, we're giving partner drivers across the UK the chance to win tickets to a match and a range of exclusive cricket goodies. To win, all you have to do is test your knowledge with a super simple cricket quiz. So if you drive with Uber, open your app now to enter, and you could be enjoying a match in the sun soon. T's and C's apply. Sun not guaranteed.
Goodwin Barrett helped William win £21,400 from the Halifax for his missold investment. If the Halifax or any other bank sold you an investment that lost money, start your quick assessment to discover how much you could be owed. Text GOOD to 60777. Text GOOD to 60777 now.
The M&S sale is now on with up to 50% off selected clothing, home and beauty in selected stores and online while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
There's nothing like meeting face-to-face. And there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere. Your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom.
Ready for some unmissable summer savings? The B&Q clearance is now on in-store and at DIY.com. You'll find big discounts across the store, including selected barbecues, garden furniture, laminate flooring, tiling, paint, and more. Better hurry though, when they're gone, they're gone. You can do it when you B&Q it.
Don't miss out on Vodafone's double data deal. That's double data on all pay monthly smartphones. Yes, all pay monthly smartphones. Now a huge 30 gig for the price of 15, starting at only £30 a month. Double the selfie sharing, double the playlist pumping, and double the maps mapping. To get double data, go online or in-store today. Hurry, offer ends 9th of July. The future's exciting. Ready? Vodafone. Terms and details at vodafone.co.uk/summer.
This is LBC, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
Well, whether Jeremy Hunt's pro-fox hunting views make any difference at all in the Tory leadership crisis is what we're debating. I suspect that it probably will. But let me tell you one party that really are in trouble. Overnight polling out from YouGov showing the Labour Party now lying fourth in the national opinion polls, languishing on 18%. This is one of the lowest poll ratings they've had in nearly 100 years. So, Labour in real trouble, and that is a story we're going to hear a lot more about over the course of the next few weeks. But for now, it's Hunt on hunting. Terry from Worthing says Hunt has shot his fox. Well, Hunt and 12 weeks only abortion. Hunt is living in the dark ages, says Shirley. And yeah, Jeremy Hunt does think that the abortion laws do need to be changed. As someone brought and brought up in the countryside, I entirely agree with the view that hunting should not be banned. I would support a licensing system. I will be voting for Mr. Hunt for several reasons, says Samantha from West London. And of course, it's difficult with this debate because we finish up debating whether we like hunting or not, more than, in a sense, whether Hunt was right to talk about hunting, which is what I'm really trying to talk about. Well, I'm doing my best anyway. Let's speak to Christina, a new caller from Woking in Surrey. Christina, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel. I'd love to speak to you, and I'm usually a huge supporter of yours, but I'm really disappointed to hear that you're also pro-fox hunting, particularly when I think you're the only person that ever speaks reason in politics.
Well, Christina, it's not so much that I'm pro-fox hunting. I've never actually hunted a fox, to be honest. I've never been hunting. I have been to hunt meets on Boxing Day, because you get a pint and at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's rather a fun place to be, and it's kind of a countryside ritual. But Christina, my feeling on it is this: I just don't want government telling us what we can and can't do. That's always been my position on it. But
they need to tell us that we can't do things like murder people or commit animal cruelty, because otherwise everyone will just do whatever they want. So I just. Anyone that can get enjoyment out of killing an animal and torturing an animal, I can't even comprehend it, to be honest. Right. And it does make a difference to how I vote. So before the Brexit Party, my views probably aligned quite closely to the Conservatives, but I would never vote for them with any kind of understanding that there might be a free vote on fox hunting. So I couldn't bear myself to. So then the Brexit Party came about, and I've been, it's been quite easy to put my vote to them. But for the younger generation, you've got a lot more vegans coming about.
I know.
If the Conservatives want to get into the younger vote, then raising this is
Christina, we have a rapidly changing, urbanising population. Attitudes are changing hugely on these areas. I fully understand that and accept that, and that's why I said I thought Hunt would have been better to have dodged this issue. Do you think it might make a difference to his vote? You probably do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. And I think, your average Joe on the street might not be all genned up in all the certain things in politics, but as soon as they find something that they don't agree with, so for me it's anything to do with animals, as soon as I get a sniff of a party not aligning to my views on animals, that's it. It's just a matter that's really, really close to my heart.
No,
so please don't let me see you ever on a hunt, because it'll break my heart.
OK, Christina, right, I'm going to bear that in mind, and the sincerity with which you said it. Thank you. Matt from Sidcup says, evening, Nigel. He shot himself in the foot. Posh, out of touch Tory, likes fox hunting. Hold the front page. Believe me, Matt, not everybody that fox hunts is posh. A lot of them are rural working class people. But hey. And now there are still nearly 300 hunts in this country, and they go out drag hunting, and they still meet, and the Boxing Day meets, many tens of thousands of people attend Boxing Day meets, and there is lots of ceremony, lots of colour, and they go and jump over hedges and fences, and they hunt trails. I wouldn't have thought anybody could ever object to that, but who knows, perhaps they do. Henry is calling from Kensington. Good evening, Henry.
Hello, Nigel. Henry here. Yeah. I know Jeremy Hunt. I had dinner with him a couple of years ago at the Carlton Club. It was one of the business dinners for 6 people.
So you are a Tory donor, Henry, aren't you?
Well, I'm a member of the club.
Yeah, okay, I get it. All right.
I had planned that I would be voting for him when the ballot papers come out, but in view of what... And he's also been toing and froing on various things, no Brexit in his own views, and I thought he's a better option. But now I'll either be voting for Boris or just sending a spoiled paper back.
Wow. And do you know that Boris is anti-fox hunting, then?
I haven't checked that out yet. I need to do that.
But this is interesting. You're the second Conservative Party member tonight who has said, we're probably going to vote for Boris now, without even asking Boris what he thinks about it, Henry.
No, but I will check it out. If he's pro-hunting, then I'll just send a spoiled paper back.
Right, you feel very strongly about it.
Yes,
yeah.
So.
And tell me, when you've had dinner with Hunt, how did he strike you as a person?
Very pleasant, articulate, but I would say he said the right things to everybody that was there.
But has he today...
There was nothing confrontational, and it was very, very amicable with everybody. And then, this is all after photographs and drinks. And, it was a very pleasant man.
But he made a mistake last night talking about this, didn't he?
Yes, defo. He should have just said, I don't know, I haven't thought about it.
It's the danger, Henry, of accepting every interview, and particularly the long form, like Chris Hope's Telegraph podcast. Henry,
absolutely,
really interesting. Thank you very much indeed for your call. There we are. It is making a difference. We're seeing it here on LBC. It is making a difference, and it is a sign of just how much the Conservative Party has changed in its views, like perhaps the country too. I am voting this week and changed to Boris yesterday. Hunt is not wise, showing his true character. Pleased he did though, says Guy in Sussex. Fox hunting. The country is in an absolute mess. Don't the politicians have something better to concentrate on, says Linda from Benfleet. Linda, yes. I mean, we have actually with Brexit, the defining political issue of our age. When history looks back at this period of time, it will all be defined about Brexit. I mean, look, I personally would love the smoking ban to be overturned. It is ridiculous. Why can't I smoke in the back room of a pub? It's nuts. But if I go out and campaign for it, I'm not going to get very far, am I? So why whistle in the wind? Why waste your time? Why campaign for something that is wholly unrealistic and a massive distraction from what you're trying to do? And that, I think, is what Hunt did yesterday. Odd time I get on YouTube for Hunt to be concerned with fox hunting. A distraction from Brexit? Maybe not. On the hunting issue, we could do a US opinion. Not CNN, the other one, Fox News. Yes, thank you, Luke from Wokingham. Let's go to Tom, who's a new caller from Redruth in Cornwall. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Nigel. Lovely to be on this show. I think Hunt is being canny, He's sort of working out the average age of the Tory members. He hasn't got to convince the general population, just 160,000 members of the Tory party, and I think he's sort of done a sort of calculated risk by coming out and saying that he's in favour of fox hunting.
Well, Tom, I've had 2 callers, and I've had one message from those who are voting, one who's already had her ballot paper, and they've rung in to say that this has put them off Hunt. But you're suggesting that maybe living down in Cornwall, there are Conservative members in their 80s and whatever who are very pro-hunting.
That's my guess. I mean, I used to be a Labour voter until I joined UKIP in 1995, and now I've switched to Brexit.
Yeah.
And I live opposite a farm where he doesn't like having fox hunting going across his land. I think it's outlived its sell-by date. Trail hunting is fine.
Yes.
I agree with you. And the sight of a hunt is very sort of Christmas biscuit tin worthy, country image, Christmas cards, that sort of thing. But hunting foxes is a bit similar to badger baiting, in my opinion, and cockfighting. It's outdated and cruel.
How would you... I mean, Tom, how would you control foxes, please?
Well, I think the way to do it is by shooting. Of course, the fox hunter will say, you don't always kill the fox.
You go out lamping.
You do if you get close enough. But a fox being chased for maybe a couple of hours is, on panic stations, on its adrenaline pumping away. If it gets away, it's had 2 hours of panic. A fox that is shot dead is bumbling along nicely, enjoying the sunshine. Bang, dead.
Tom, actually, shooting foxes during the day is incredibly difficult. All right.
Well, yes.
Even seeing them. So what you have to do is go out lamping. All right, where you shine.
Yeah, we get foxes in our garden. We feed them.
Yeah.
And can I just say, Nigel, what you and the Brexit people did in Parliament yesterday, brilliant, fantastic, well done. Anne Widdecombe, what a star.
I'm going to... do you know what? Actually, Tom, I am going to... Thank you for your call. So Anne Widdecombe is all over the news. She's leading the bulletins here on LBC. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you the story behind why Anne Widdecombe has made the news today and received, of course, the absolute condemnation of many. We'll talk about that in a moment, but for now, you're listening to The Nigel Farage Show here on LBC at 6:30 in time for the news. Willisa Aziz.
There are warnings the decision by William Hill to close hundreds of branches could be copied by other bookmakers. It's blaming government changes to fixed odds betting machines for its announcement that now puts thousands of jobs at risk across the UK. The inquest into the London Bridge terror attack has heard how a new firearms officer fell over and shot one of the terrorists through his legs, thinking he was about to be killed. He's been giving evidence anonymously at the Old Bailey. There's been a big shock at Wimbledon this afternoon. Reigning champion Angelique Kerber is out in the second round, while Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has been watching her friend Serena Williams in action on Court 1. LBC weather, showers continuing across Scotland through tonight, drier with clear spells elsewhere and a low of 6 degrees.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Weekday mornings from 7. LBC.
Those controversial LGBT lessons in Birmingham to be reworked as of September, but how? Amir Ahmed is leading campaign of the Birmingham Parents Community Forum.
They're not tackling equality, deconstructing heteronormativity and constructing homonormativity.
If that is the case, why would the school, having been inspected by Ofsted, be cleared of all wrongdoing? Are you saying Ofsted are part of the conspiracy as well?
Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
With Xero. Get your business digital ready with Xero accounting software.
LBC.
You know their names. Now, find out who they are. Listen to Full Disclosure with James O'Brien, an insightful podcast featuring rare, candid conversations with the biggest names in politics, entertainment, and sport. And while James gives you a look into their lives, keep an eye on yours with Blink, wireless home security cameras you can monitor on your smartphone. Full Disclosure with James O'Brien. New episodes every Monday, thanks to Blink home security cameras.
This summer, Uber is sponsoring the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup. To celebrate and say thank you, we're giving partner drivers across the UK the chance to win tickets to a match and a range of exclusive cricket goodies. To win, all you have to do is test your knowledge with a super simple cricket quiz. So if you drive with Uber, open your app now to enter, and you could be enjoying a match in the sun soon. T's and C's apply. Sun not guaranteed.
Wellman and Wellwoman are the leading multivitamins for men and for women. Comprehensive formulas with vitamins B6 and B12 to support normal energy release. Live life well. Wellman and Wellwoman from Vitabiotics, the UK's #1 vitamin company. From Boots, pharmacies and vitabiotics.com.
Meg, the driving instructor, is definitely almost 90% sure she's filing her VAT right. Kinda. But she'd be more confident with QuickBooks. QuickBooks is perfect for making tax digital and is HMRC recognised. Get up to 50% off your first 6 months. And maybe put it towards a new clutch.
Making tax digital means monthly VAT returns are changing too. Are you ready for the 7th of July? Visit quickbooks.co.uk for details. QuickBooks. Backing you.
Sharing credit card details on scraps of loose paper. Finding battered receipts in the wash. Stressing out your accountant. Expense management doesn't have to be stuck in the dark ages. Say hello to Soldo. Company cards that do your expenses for you. Give your team prepaid cards to simply spend, snap the receipt, and that's that. Spend smarter. See the light at soldo.com.
The M&S sale is now on with up to 50% off selected clothing, home and beauty in selected stores and online while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
There are few greater joys in life than a sumptuous hot bath. Time to let the stresses of the day just melt away. Unless your plumbing goes. That's a recipe for a meltdown. But Trusted Trader are always on hand to help. TrustedTrader.com have lots of really lovely tradespeople who are vetted, reviewed and reliable. So if you need a plumber or other professionals in their trade, just relax. Trusted Trader are only a click away.
The Nigel Farage Show on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
So today in the European Parliament, there was actually a debate after 2 or 3 days of waiting around and farcical voting when the result had been decided the previous night by the leaders in Brussels. Never has the European Parliament looked less powerful, indeed, than it does now. But I thought today, well, look, do you know what? I don't need to speak in this debate. I've spoken in hundreds of these debates. I know what I'll do. I'll let Anne Widdecombe speak in this debate because she's got a bit of personality. And let's just listen, because she's been severely criticised after comparing leaving the EU to slaves rising up against their owners. Let's listen to Anne Widdecombe.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons.
Well, I must admit, I was sitting next to her and laughing. But, she's very forthright in what she believes. Huge amount of criticism she's coming in for. And I'd also love to say this. 243 years ago today, a population on the western fringe of a union decided they were not being properly represented. So they tried to get a voice. They were ignored. In the end, there was an attempt militarily to put them down. So do you know what they did? They took control of their own futures and they left the union without a deal. And they went on to dominate the world. They're the richest, most powerful country in the world. And of course, today is July the 4th. It's America's Independence Day. And you see, actually, you can become independent and do pretty well. And I've got a caller on from Connecticut called Mike. Good afternoon, Mike.
Hello, Nigel. How are you, sir?
I am well. Now, did you hear what Miss Widdecombe said today?
It was the first thing I saw on YouTube when I woke up this morning, and my heart just completely started going nuts when she said that.
Right. Sorry, Mike, is that in a good way or a bad way?
No, in an amazing way, in the best way possible. I got to tell you, Nigel, that was the most patriotic thing I've ever heard on the floor of the Parliament, and I am so proud of Anne for taking a stance and calling it the way that it is. You should be real proud to have her on the floor of the Parliament with you.
Well, she certainly made an impression, let me tell you, as I always thought she would, actually. No, good, interesting. And any reflections, Mike, given that it's July 4th, any reflections on the current state of relationship between the USA and the UK?
Yes, I think that July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2019 are two completely different times. Back when our country was founded, we didn't like each other, and it was very much a reflection of what Anne said on the floor of the Parliament.
Yes.
But after 2 world wars, after going through the 20th century, after defending each other from communism and trying to defend democracy around the world and in our backyards, I think that our relations are as strong as they have ever been. And I am so happy that we're going to finally have a new prime minister. The Brexit Party is as strong as it's ever been. And I'm really proud to say that, America and Britain are really cousins and the best of friends.
And hunting, Mike, has become an issue in the last 24 hours over here. I mean, do you, as an American, how do you see us debating fox hunting? Are you surprised at the level of opposition to it now in the United Kingdom?
I'm not as surprised at the level of opposition to it as I am the fact that it's such an issue. I mean, that's more to do with the fact that I honestly didn't know that it was that big of an issue. I didn't know it was that big a part of British culture. But I agree with you from a libertarian standpoint that I don't want government telling me what I can and can't do. But as far as Jeremy Hunt goes, in terms of what it could or could not do his poll numbers, he took a stance on it. So, that's going to drive away people that might think the other way.
Yep, I think that's right. Mike, great call. Thank you very much indeed. Now, Finn's having a go at me from Pimlico. He says, aren't you being hypocritical, Nigel? You've been calling for straight-talking politics for over 20 years. When Hunt gives a straight answer to a straight question, you say he should have avoided it. Yet, Finn, I'm not running for Prime Minister because I would have answered it in a straightforward way too. I'm suggesting that in this game that's been played between these two characters, it wasn't a smart thing for him to have done. Justin on Facebook says, I would never vote these days for anyone that condones fox hunting. Emma says, I went hunting as a child and saw the kill. Never again. It was cruel. Jane says, I think there are enough foxes killed on the road by speeding motorists. There is nothing to suggest that fox hunting is efficient. Well, I mean, absolutely it's not. It's cruel, and most of the foxes are not killed. They are maimed and die at a later stage. I don't think that's right at all, Jane. Actually, I think you'll find that when a pack of dogs gets a fox, it kills it pretty blooming quickly. And I think you'll find, Jane, that those that are shot and lamping at night being the most common way of doing that, a lot of those will not be quickly killed. Trapping, equally cruel. Poisoning, perhaps even crueler still. It's not straightforward, this. But what about the politics of it? Nick is calling from Croydon. Hi, Nick.
Hello, Nigel. How are you?
Hi there. So Hunt says what he thinks, and I'm getting people, LBC listeners and some of them new callers, telling me that it could cost Hunt their vote.
Well, I rather like the idea of Hunt saying what he thinks. I think I'm sick and tired of politicians just saying the safe, secure, anodyne answer, the straight back. I like the idea of someone in his position, giving an opinion.
Yes. No, Nick, I get that. I've always given opinions, and I do understand that.
Yes,
but
you have.
Yeah, absolutely. But was it a wise thing to do, given some of the ballot papers landed today on people's doormats?
I think you have to be true to yourself. I think people see through falsehoods, and in our age where politicians aren't held in a very high esteem, someone who is trying to be genuine will ring a chord. So I've time for him.
Okay.
For saying it. I'm not a big fox hunting fan. I don't know much about fox control. I don't know what is a safe and a humane, efficient way of doing it. I accept fox hunt. Keeping fox numbers down must happen. I've yet to hear of ways that it does it efficiently. So the debate's rather open as far as that goes.
Okay, but you admire him. You admire him for being straight and honest.
Please, yes. Please
Okay.
also pass on my thanks to Anne Widdecombe.
Yep.
I think if she is annoying certain people, she is doing the right thing, and she's annoyed certain
Well, I tell you
people.
what, Nick, whether you agree with Anne or disagree with Anne, she's got guts and personality, and she's not afraid of saying it as she sees it. Nick, I thank you. Now, Linda from Mansfield says, I'm not surprised Hunt is pro-hunting, but shocked that you are. It's cruel and barbaric. Are we going to cull cats next for killing birds, says Linda from Mansfield. I tell you what, Linda, is cruel and barbaric. If you've ever been into, I bet you haven't, Linda, if you've ever seen a hen house shortly after a fox has been in there with all the dead, dying, wounded chickens or ducks or whatever it is, and they've been killed for fun, you might, just like me, think fox numbers need to be controlled. And that's the point I'm really making. I'm not coming out. I've actually said from the start of this show, hunting is deeply inefficient. We have to do it by other means. The difficulty is some of the other means are actually even crueler, is my view. Let's go to a rural part of the country, to Carlisle, and speak to Sandra. Sandra, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel.
Welcome.
I was at Birmingham on Sunday.
Ah, very good. Very
Wonderful.
good. And we had lots of people there. So how do you feel, Sandra, about Hunt the Hunter?
I am for hunting.
Right.
But I've had my ballot paper today from the Conservative Party.
Right.
And I voted for Boris.
Did you?
Yes.
Right. So you're... Okay. And do you know where Boris stands on hunting, by the way?
Well, I didn't vote that didn't affect my vote. I just think he's got more chance of getting us a clean Brexit.
Okay. So in fact, Hunt's views were not enough to tempt you to vote for him.
No.
No. Okay.
I know somebody who rescued some chickens, and they were all scraggy and hardly any feathers on them. After a few weeks, they were beautiful and fluffy and running around in their garden, and a fox got them and killed them all.
Oh,
absolutely disgraceful.
Well, that's a tale of our times, isn't it? Yeah. I have to say, Sandra, I am much more worried about cruelty to many millions of animals through increasingly intensive farming practices than I am what happens to a few foxes. I really mean that. And those of you out there who hate the concept of fox hunting in any form at all, and just think about what I've just said. Think about the fact that so many of those sandwiches you buy with chicken in them are chickens that have been reared and produced in Thailand. I wonder what conditions they're reared in. I do actually understand why some people give up. I understand why some people do even give up eating meat, because they're worried about these things. Hunting should be very low on that list. Thank you very much indeed, Sandra. What is the matter with Tory voters? Is fox hunting seriously their priority in a leadership election? I'm a Tory member, and this issue does not appear on my radar. Who will make the best leader Prime Minister to get us out of the EU on WTO terms is the most important point, and I'm voting for Boris Johnson. Look, I agree with you. This is the defining issue of our times. It's what matters, and what Hunt has done, he's caused a last-minute distraction. And I don't think that politically was very clever, even if it was very, very honest. You're listening to The Nigel Farage Show here on LBC at 6:45, and time for the news headlines with Lisa Aziz.
There are warnings the decision by William Hill to close hundreds of branches could be copied by other bookmakers. The inquest into the London Bridge attack has heard how a new firearms officer fell over and shot one of the terrorists through his legs, thinking he was about to be killed. Brexit Party MEP Anne Widdecombe has been heavily criticised for comparing leaving the European Union to slaves rising up against their owners. LBC weather, showers continuing across Scotland through tonight, a drier though with clearer spells elsewhere, and a low of 6 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. The M4 eastbound stays closed from the M25 to Junction 4 for Heathrow because of a serious accident. There are queues from Junction 6 for Slough, and it means there are also long delays on the M25 in both directions to the M4. The M2, that's also closed eastbound at Junction 1 for Strood because a car's overturned, so there are queues from Bean on the A2 eastbound. On the M40 southbound, there are severe delays after an accident earlier from Junction 4 for High Wycombe to Junction 3 for Loudwater. There are still queues on the M1 northbound from Junction 8 for Hemel Hempstead up to Junction 11 for Luton after an accident earlier. And on the underground, there are severe delays on the Bakerloo line between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wealdstone.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Ian Dale.
If you're a northerner in London, are you discriminated against? We'll have an hour with Lord Glassman, plus it's a return of the Widdecombe in the News Hour.
Ian Dale on LBC.
There's nothing like meeting face-to-face. And there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere, your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom.
Looking good, it comes at a cost. Hairstyling, makeup, designer fashion, each and every season. With the Renault Clio Play, you can drive with confidence for just $179 a month with no deposit and 0% APR finance. And looking good? Well, naturally, with Renault Clio, that follows. Search Clio offers. Renault PCP Finance, Clio Play TCE 75, 48 months, optional final payment 4462. Subject to status, over 18s, T's and C's apply. Order by September 30th. Retail customers, participating dealers only.
Managed to fill those jobs yet?
Oh, I'm struggling.
You know Mark in HR? He was telling me about Hiring Hub. It connects you to loads of vetted specialist recruitment agencies, so you can widen your candidate search quickly, without any hassle.
Really?
Yeah. You post a job, and recruitment agencies you select send you their best candidates.
Want to fill professional jobs faster? Search Hiring Hub and post your job today.
Mark's nice, isn't he?
Really?
When it comes to cruising, you don't want to feel like just another number. Thankfully, the new boutique cruise ships by Saga offer a more personal service.
Hello, Mr. Goodman.
Oh, hello. Giving you flexibility and freedom. What about off-roading on a volcano? A taste of Bordeaux's finest? Or fancy a bit of flamenco? Lovely. Well, thanks to the new Explorer Shore Concierge, no ask is too big. And the smallest ships dock closer to port, meaning more time ashore rather than getting ashore. It's a boutique cruise experience personal to you. Boutique Cruises by Saga, for your spirit of discovery.
Save up to 35% on our all-inclusive cruises. Search Spirit of Discovery to find out more. Over 50s only.
Being born in the USA and marrying a Galway girl may not necessarily make you walk 500 miles to a Norwegian wood like an Egyptian to bless the rains down in Africa. But if we are as open-minded, open to the world, open to new ideas as we are to music, we can all dance as part of something far, far bigger. Because we are not an island. HSBC UK. Together we thrive. And this is the end of the ad as we know it.
Ready for some unmissable summer savings? The B&Q clearance is now on in-store and at DIY.com. You'll find big discounts across the store, including selected barbecues, garden furniture, laminate flooring, tiling, paint, and more. Better hurry though, when they're gone, they're gone. You can do it when you B&Q it.
I had been to another dentist and had long conversations about bone grafting.
At Darwood & Tanner, our experience with dental implants often means bone grafting is not necessary.
When I met Andrew and he looked at the various x-rays, he said, you do not need to have bone grafts. He can work around places where there is no bone or there is little bone.
Download your information pack at darwoodandtanner.co.uk today. Your smile is our healthy obsession.
The Nigel Farage Show on LBC.
Norma on Facebook says it's not just about the foxes. Hounds and horses also get hurt. Yes, Norma, and people get very seriously hurt. In fact, hunting, jumping over some of these hedges and fences is bordering on madness. And yet people love doing it. They love the freedom of riding their horses out in the countryside. And these days, it is trail hunting. I'm not sure why anybody would object to that. Bradley is calling from Gillingham in Dorset. Good evening, Bradley.
Good evening, Mr. Farage. How are you?
I'm fine. So, Jeremy Hunt the Hunter, has it damaged his prospects in your view?
Well, it has. I mean, you know what? I'm really, really glad that he actually came out and said that, because now it just shows his true colours. And it means that if he got into power later on down the line, he would try and overturn it.
Right. And do you see it as a really important issue, Bradley?
Bloody right I do. I mean, I live in Dorset, yeah? I mean, fox hunting is the cruelest barbaric sport out there. It really is. I mean, not just they just chase the foxes across the fields and kill them. They dig up the cubs, they breed them, they chuck the cubs in the pens with the hounds to get the blood on them, to get the scent, to get the hounds going. It was only a 3 weeks ago. I was in Gloucester and in North Cerney there, and I saw the hunt going across the fields. I saw the bloodhounds as well going across the road, and one of the bloodhounds had loads of blood all around his jaw, around his mouth, and I phoned the police.
Did you?
Yeah, and the police turned up and said it is against the law. We know who the hunt is. We're going to go and have a word with them. But I've never heard no more back from that. But do you know what, Nigel?
Bradley, just one sort of thought. Right, you feel I can tell you feel very strongly about it. I get that, but haven't the police got other things to worry about?
Well, yeah, but it's people like me, Nigel, that that want to protect foxes and.
Do you? You want to protect foxes, Bradley?
Yeah, but if you saw a child being hit about or ripped apart, you'd phone the police, wouldn't you? I mean,
I don't see. I really, honestly and truthfully, do not see the comparison.
Right, Nigel, put it this way then. If you had an Alsatian, okay, and your Alsatian goes in the field and kills about 10 or 15 sheep, which they do.
Yeah.
Sheep worry and they kill them. So that means, does that give the farmer a right then to go out and shoot every Alsatian he sees?
No, but it gives him the right. It gives him the absolute right to shoot that Alsatian. Yes, of course.
What about chicken farmers then? How they cram all those chickens in those
I
pens
agree, Bradley, I agree with you. I think there are some real issues here about the way we farm and do things, and I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that. But, Bradley, I would suggest to you that our very hard-pressed police forces all over this country, which have suffered some really very big cutbacks since 2010, may have more important things to do than take phone calls from you about whether a fox hunt has or has not killed a fox.
Well, Well, I disagree with you on that because in North Sairney there isn't much going on. I mean, it didn't take the police long to get there. If they had been that busy, Nigel, they would have.
Okay, all right, Bradley.
Yeah,
Listen.
but the thing is, I mean, the cruelest animal on this planet is a human. It really is.
Well, Bradley, I tell you what. Let me just try one more line of attack with you. Do you agree that foxes need to be controlled?
I think foxes make the countryside. I think badgers make the countryside. I think the countryside is all part and parcel.
Bradley, I tell you what, I'm sorry. I don't want to... I can tell you're a very nice person. I don't want to fight with you, but actually... the destruction that foxes cause if they're uncontrolled to ground nesting birds, to hares, to many other species. I know a part of Kent where they carried out a big fox cull within 2 years, where there were hares running about, there were even some English partridges back on the ground. Foxes have got to be controlled. Bradley, you're a nice man. Thank you. And of course, back in 2017, Theresa May defended her support for fox hunting, arguing foxes must be killed and that hunting them with dogs on horseback is the most humane way of doing so. She said she'd always supported fox hunting. This, of course, was back in the election of 2017. Traditionally, the Conservative Party have been a party that have either been pro-fox hunting or have allowed people to hunt, thinking the state shouldn't interfere. Although some very prominent Conservatives, like Anne Widdecombe, who was a very prominent Conservative, she's always consistently been against hunting. And I can tell you Boris Johnson, indeed, has more than once voted against hunting with hounds, all right? Just sort of clear that one up. Theresa May also used the fox hunting strategy to lose the election. Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of you commenting on Theresa. It's interesting that this has repeated itself again. I think from a tactical point of view, I do think Hunt made a mistake, even if he was telling the truth. Stephen is calling from Romford. Good evening, Stephen.
Hi, Nigel. Nice to speak to you, my man.
Good to speak to you.
Love Dan.
God.
And it was unbelievable speech. Okay, fox hunting.
She's very anti-fox hunting, Han, but there we are. Now, Stephen, where do you stand on this great debate?
Right, well, I've been reading a lot of the messages on here, and people don't realise that the problem that foxes cause. We actually go out lamping. We don't particularly go out lamping for foxes, we go out lamping for rabbits.
Yes.
Now, we take care of a lot of farms up in Mount Nessing in Essex.
Yep.
And the foxes there cause nothing but destruction. They are a menace. They are a real menace. I've kept chickens and I've had them decimated by foxes.
Horrible.
And they just take the heads. They leave the bodies and just take the heads of the chickens. They don't want to eat the chicken. No. For some reason, it's just the head. But I totally agree with you. Any form of animal cruelty is wrong. They've got to keep the numbers down. So I'm not in favour of fox hunting, but I am in favour of shooting them.
So, Stephen, let me ask you, if you're lamping and you're shooting foxes, I mean, can you guarantee me that, what are you using, a 2.2 rifle, something like that?
No, 3.62s.
Okay, so using quite heavy stuff.
Yeah, and it's a clean kill.
And that is a clean kill, is it? Right, okay.
And that makes, that can be 100, 150 yards is a clean kill. They also use a H1R7, which is a high-velocity rifle, which is smaller than a 2.2 air rifle, basically, but it's got a range of nearly 2 miles. And these tipped bullets that they're using, they can blow the head off of a fox with no problem.
I think that's maybe enough detail for our audience, Stephen. There's a lot of people very queasy about this subject, but you're telling me that with the equipment you've got, you will get a clean kill with a fox?
Yeah, with no problems whatsoever. No problems whatsoever, Nigel.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Stephen, I'm going to let you go. Getting initial reports of a 6.6 earthquake that has hit California. Don't know any more about it at this stage. Going to take one last caller very, very quickly. Jason, a new caller from Shrewsbury in Shropshire. Hi, Jason.
Hi there. Hi. Yeah, I mean, the general issue here seems to be that that Hunt he's following the manifesto the Conservatives made in 2017. That actually it's that's just showing a bit of integrity. The general issue about welfare, it's totally immaterial to all the fuss that's being caused. The chap that you had on before last, obviously delusional. Nobody hunts after March anyway, so what he was doing in Gloucestershire, seeing hunting in the middle of summer.
Well, he may have got his week slightly out, and he clearly was, and he was clearly very sincere. But Jason, there has been a big change. I mean, look, a big change in this country has occurred. I mean, people are very anti-hunting out there now, aren't they?
Yeah, and they just obviously they haven't experienced it, they haven't seen it, they don't realise that actually hunting people care more about foxes and conservation and looking after woodlands and habitat than
Jason,
the chap that was lamping foxes.
As indeed the shooting community and the fishing community care about the environment. Are you, just very quickly, are you now more or less likely to vote for Jeremy Hunt as a result of what he's said?
Probably more likely to vote.
All right, very good. Thank you. Well, Jason, they're more, but several of you less likely. Yeah, I think he's made a bit of a mistake, I have to say. I'm back on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. At 10 tonight. It's Tom Swarbrick, but up next, it's Ian Dale.
And Widdecombe. Wonderful.
Top stuff. It's caused uproar, the slavery comments, complete uproar. But I tell you what, I did predict, Ian, that once she arrived there, they'd know she had. And goodness me.
I think you were right in that prediction. Thank you very much. Right, coming up on the next 3 hours, after 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking to Lord Maurice Glassman, the Labour peer. He was the inventor of the term Blue Labour. He's an absolutely fascinating man. You're going to enjoy that. After 9, Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, says that Northerners are being discriminated against in London. I want to know whether he's right, but possibly are Southerners being discriminated against in Manchester? I don't know. You tell me. Also, on the News Hour, we will obviously be talking about the fact that William Hill are planning to close 700 stores with 4,500 job losses. We will be talking more about that and Widdecombe speech. And Iran has summoned the British ambassador to Tehran.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain.